Hey, welcome. Today we are joined by Bruno Simon. He's a creative developer, and you might know him from his new course, 3JS Journey, or from his personal portfolio website, where you get to drive a car around on the screen. It's a whole lot of fun. Either way, he is here with us today, and he's going to be answering some of our questions about 3JS, about WebGL, and just kind of the state of the internet and how to create experiences on it. Bruno, welcome.
Hey Alex, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So, got a couple of questions for you because you were kind of the 3D expert, in my opinion, and I've kind of been seeing AR and VR as emerging trends over the past few years. And where do you kind of see AR and VR maybe over the next 5 years? Like, are those going to kind of take over more of the internet and more of what we think of as web experiences?
Yeah, you're perfectly right. We see a lot of VR and ER. Actually, we say XR now because there is a lot of
Right.
words to explain it. Have you tried VR and AR yet?
A little bit, yeah. Like I've played the Pokemon Go game when that came out, right? That's kind of like AR, and then I've put on like a VR headset and played some games there. But I'm not super I'm not super knowledgeable on it, but I'm familiar.
Yeah, that's a great start actually. Currently, I have like the Oculus Quest 2. It's like a headset, a helmet you put, and it's really good. And I think VR and AR are being like huge, but we still have a problems really to implement it like in the daily life of people. And there are I think some problems about that. First, it's about like sickness. A lot of people like you can spend your day on your computer. It's not good for your health, but still a lot of people are doing it. I'm doing it because it's my work. It's the work of a lot of people, and we can just
Right.
leave that. If you try like a VR, like the full thing you get on your head, you will see that you can just do maybe 1 hour, 2 hour, and you will start to feel kind of dizzy. So for me, it's one of the first problem, but they are working so well on that, and it's getting better and better every
Okay.
day, every year. So this is kind of getting good and making it like available for everyone. The second problem that is almost resolved is about the price of the devices.
Right.
Now it's getting like really accessible. Like for I don't know maybe 200, 300, you can have a pretty good experience, which is quite awesome. Even the hardware now is getting like so small. The Oculus Quest, just to talk about this one, because it's the one I have at home. It's quite small, it's not too heavy, and it's not that expensive. So it's getting better. But it's not just about those. We also have, like you said, the Pokemon Go experience, where it's more like AR through your device. And this is going like really fast too. Currently, we have something like it's called I think photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is like you just take pictures, and those pictures are being processed to create like a 3D environment. This enable like AR.
Okay.
Actually, now they are also using just not the camera. They are also using like other kind of sensors to get like information about the surrounding, and it's kind of
LiDAR, like
maybe
it's
yeah.
able
I
to,
think you're
yeah,
right.
it sends out some like lasers. I forget how it works exactly, but I think some of the new
Yeah.
iPhones have shipped with it, and it's able to get like the dimensions of the room, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you get this information, and you can start playing. I don't know, like against monster right inside your room. So it's getting better. And
Right.
currently, devices are getting like so performant that they can handle this, which is crazy. Like our smartphones are getting as powerful as like computers. They can like process, compute the surrounding, and even like recreate 3D objects and put them inside that surrounding being recreated. So it's getting better, but for now it's still like a show. We don't have like real usage. We have good ideas that seems like adequate. Like it's okay, it's great ideas, maybe it's a little better, but it's always I can't find the word, like it's like showcase. It's we
It's
can do.
fun, but it's not as
Yeah.
useful as we need it. Like I feel like one of the more useful examples might be like IKEA, where you can see if the couch fits in your house, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty useful. But then like if you search Google for a certain dog breed, you can then see the dog in your room, and that's fun. Like you're saying, like it's cool. It's a wow. but it's not like I need to see what a golden retriever looks like. I need to put that in my house right now, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
it's a bit more fun than it is
Like for the
useful.
IKEA, you can just like measure stuff. It's
Yeah.
funnier. I'm right. It's right. Yeah, it's funnier. Maybe you can kind of see it in almost real life, but you could have measured it. So me, I think it has a place. There is a place for AR and VR and XR. It can be like for gaming. It can be useful. It can be for how do you say, for health, for the doctors, stuff like that. But I still need to see proof of that, and I hope we will have more usage, maybe for aerospatial stuff like that. I don't know, but for me, no. As you said, it's mostly like fun.
Cool. Yeah, it's right now it's more experiences and um do you see it coming to the web more? Because I think some of the things
Yeah.
that we talked about was the Oculus Quest, right? And that's mainly like you're downloading games to that and you're not running that through a browser. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't know for
Or can you?
the this one, but you can do AR and VR through the web. That's for sure. But it's there are some like how do we say like hookup, like there's some stuff being blocked. Like you cannot use the iPhone to do AR that easily inside the web browser, and
Right.
also the web browser have performances limitation, and this is for
Got
me
it.
the biggest problem here, is that it's more about performances that are being like lowered for web, for kind of security and performance reasons, but it's coming like kind of late to the web. It's always kind of late to the web, but it's coming too.
Cool. Excellent. So, what are some ways that we can keep experiences, like the ones that are made with 3JS generally, still rich and still engrossing and still captivating for the majority of people, but also still keep them accessible to people who might be sensitive to flashing lights, who might have vestibular disorders, or people who might use a screen reader to interact with websites? How can we kind of merge those two things with experiences?
Yeah, this is something really hard to do because you're already having so much trouble like to get something done and have your 3D experiences on the web, and then you think, oh, but it's not like accessible. It's bad for people that cannot like see the same way we can see a web, and usually we don't do much about it. Unfortunately, the more we know about it, the more experiences we have, the easier it gets. The more we are going to implement accessibility stuff. I think it's just a matter of just asking what can we do first, and at the end
Okay.
it's like video games. When you see video games, you have like first you can have messages about flashing. You can also have like easy modes. Like on my portfolio, it's you see like it's kind of hard to control the car, which is on purpose, but some people just cannot drive like if they want my emails, they have to go through the whole world. It's kind of hard. What I did is that you can just drag and drop. If you don't want
Oh, that's
to
clever.
control the car, you can just drag and drop. It will move the camera just like you swipe on a Google Map. You can do exactly the same on my portfolio. And if you want to click on a link, you don't have to put the car inside that area and press enter. You can just click on the link. Unfortunately, what I messed up here is that most people don't know about it. The only information you have is that your cursor become the grab cursor you get for something that you can grab. So maybe some people had it right, but it's a lot of we just need to do those efforts. Like we just need to get feedbacks from people that don't have the same it's not as easy as the other to navigate through website. Maybe because they have handicaps. Maybe just because they are not used to control a car, stuff like that. And try to help those people. Currently, it's just like that. And the easier it gets to develop stuff, the more we can focus on making those things accessible. What about like having text versions? Actually, you kind of can't having your 3D that is also available as text. You have to provide two different things. You can maybe just put the text behind the WebGL, and if someone just access the text version of the website, this person will have access to those information. So it's kind of the obvious thing that we need to do. But there is no like compiling the 3D environment with the data inside it to a different format that can be accessible to someone. But you're right, we need to work on this now.
That makes a lot of sense. The kind of like the screen reader friendly version and the 3D version kind of being separate things. That solution sounds like it makes a lot of sense. So something like that being kind of the gold standard for accessible websites that are still a lot of fun and still engrossing and captivating. I think that sounds like a great standard for us to move towards. That's great. Um, so speaking of those two like of kind of like more HTML semantic websites and then WebGL 3JS experiences, do you see those as entirely different things, or do you see them as like should the two remain separate, or should people combine 3D visuals with their normal like H1s and paragraph tags and things like that more frequently? How do you kind of see that? Should a website either go completely towards semantic HTML or completely towards 3JS, or
It's
should it be
just
something in the middle?
it just depends on the project. Like if you
Okay.
want to create, let's say, a game, you create a game. You don't need HTML. Maybe you just need to add HTML. I don't know, maybe because you need like an interface, like to add a score, live stuff like that. Maybe you can do it like entirely in WebGL. It's up to you. There is almost no limitation about that. It's true that mixing WebGL and HTML can be bad for performances. But if you do everything you can on the WebGL side to have good performances, well, you have room to do those kind of mistakes, and you can add HTML. It can be above it. It's actually really depend on the project. If you are using WebGL to display your product, as an example, you have your e-commerce, and you want you are selling, I don't know, any type of object, and you want the user to be able to rotate around the object. You don't need like a full immersive experiences. You just need where you would have put images of the your product, you will put just in that small area, you will put your WebGL stuff, and the rest will be HTML. So it really depends on the website. We have a lot of websites where the WebGL is just the background. We can see a lot of things like this. I've been doing some website like that where you scroll and something is happening in the WebGL behind. The WebGL is always like in a fixed CSS position behind the content. In front, you have all your HTML, and you can when you work on the HTML, you can just like throw away the WebGL, so you just focus on the HTML and then get back to the WebGL. So it really just depends on the project. The only limitation is about performances, but if you do all the tips you can apply, you will have good performances, and it's not a problem to have WebGL and HTML together on the same page.
That's awesome. That sounds like a great solution to that. So with those WebGL experiences kind of becoming more common, like as I look through awards.com or any kind of site like that where they celebrate and promote kind of the best of web development and just like the most attractive, the most captivating websites, it feels like all of them just about have some form of WebGL involved there. So now that it's almost a requirement to have WebGL on your website just to kind of make it to that level. How do you stand out now that it's, I feel like it used to be where if you had WebGL on your website, you were kind of an exception and your site was automatically in kind of like a smaller category. But now you're in a much more crowded market. So how do you get a website to stand out when everyone in that category is using WebGL and 3JS?
Yeah, you're right about that. Most awards websites are using WebGL. Maybe not most, but you can see that there is a pattern. We see a lot of WebGL, which is kind of sad, but it's almost like, all right, you did WebGL on your website. It's an achievement. You did this challenge. It's true that it's hard, and fortunately, usually when you see like a WebGL website, it's just not like a cube rotating. They have done like a great work, and it's kind of helpful depending on what the website is doing. But you're right about that. To answer your question, for me, I think to stand out, it's a matter of three things, and you need to do all of the three and combine them the right way. It's about the design, so it's how your WebGL looks. You can do so much when you have depth. You can do particles, you can have lights. If you just change the lights or how the lights react, it will completely change the design. So you need to be able to have the right colors, and it has to be with the rest of the website to have like a homogeneous content. So it's about the design. It's also about the feature, because if your WebGL just looks good, okay, that's great, but how does it help? I don't know, selling the product, giving the information, providing the data the right way. So you need the right features, and it can be also like just tricky or fun features. Just like on my website, one of the features is that you can bump into the walls, the bricks, the title, and things just start to stumble and go away, and so you have physics. So this is a feature just for the show, but it's also like a matter of features. And in the end, the third thing, so design the features, meaningful features, or just like crazy or some features. And the final things is about details. Like if you can have all the details, like the small details, like they did this small light here, and this model has this detail here, and the texture is just perfect, because when you put the logo in front of the textures, something's happen, and it's just like the small details. The more details, great details, obviously, you have, the better it is. Because if you have something that looks great with great features, but it's kind of empty, you just don't feel the features, it won't be enough. So for me, you just have to mix those. And it's hard, because each one, you need to be able to handle all of these. If you have someone working on the design, someone working on the global features, and someone working like adding details, it will be a mess. You need someone able to do all of those, or a team able to talk with everyone, and the designer know about this, and the managers talking with the client, because maybe there is a client. We talked, say, you need these features, but we can also add this information here. And if you have everybody doing a great job and knowing everybody other person job, you will get the right result. Or you need someone that is able to do all of this, and which is why it's that hard for me. And this is the way to stand out, is to have great design, great features that make sense, and good details.
So that's an excellent answer. I think that those are three great things to really aim towards. And what you said about features makes a lot of sense, because your website, like if someone goes and tries to do that same kind of thing, but it's for a website for a shoe company where they're trying to sell sneakers or something, it's a very different purpose, right? Where like for you, it's your personal portfolio. You want to show your capabilities and show what you can bring to a project. So that's the purpose of the project, right? So if you're missing the purpose and you're just throwing things in for the sake of it, and it's not serving the project, it's not going to help anything. You're just showing off, and you're confusing your users.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, a lot of people ask me they ask me, we want the same thing for, and it was exactly what you say, like for selling shoes, for selling cars. Cars actually might be kind of right, but if you want to sell a car, it's not a toy car. You cannot use that thing. So as you said, it has to make sense. And actually, my portfolio code is available. So every time I said, you can just take my code, do whatever you want, and they never did it, because it doesn't make sense. At a point, they realized, no, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We have to do features that make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's perfect. Well, Bruno, thank you so much for answering our questions. I really appreciate it. I've learned a lot, and I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of this. And if you want to learn everything about WebGL and 3JS, definitely check out Bruno's course, 3JS Journey. Bruno, what kinds of things will people learn if they take this course?
A lot of things, actually. You will learn, obviously, 3JS. So 3JS is a library that made possible so many websites. Almost all of the latest websites I've been doing. You can do like 3D on your web browser. It's really easy, but not so easy, obviously. So it's a huge course to learn 3GS, from the basics to more advanced techniques. You will learn how to do physics, how to add particles, how to handle materials, but you will also learn how to create your own model so that you can create your model, insert them inside 3GS, and obviously you will also learn a lot of techniques to get good performances and to mix it with HTML. So everything will be is in this course, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I've been taking it, and it completely blew me away. It's a fantastic course. Can't recommend it enough. So, Bruno, thank you for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.